show you a little hack how to slip the working yarn in front, but I want to show you how to do a little hack on your knitting loom to make it a little quicker and a whole lot easier. We usually do the slip working yarn in front when we want to do some decorative things on our stitching. All of these transverse herringbone stitch pattern, these stitches are all created by using the slip working yarn in front. So I want to show you how to do it to speed up your knitting. Okay, let's go up here to my loom. This pattern calls for E-wrap 2, slip working yarn in front 2, E-wrap 2, slip working yarn in front 2. So I've done my 2 E-wraps, I've done my slips. I'm going to E-wrap my next 2 pegs, and here's where I'm going to do my slip working yarn in front. Now, if you're doing a slip working yarn in back, which is normal, slip, again, we use slip and skip kind of interchangeably when we're loom knitting. So if we're going to skip or slip these two with the working yarn in back, that's easy. We just lay the working yarn behind the pegs and move to the 2 pegs that we're actually going to start working. So that's how you do a working yarn in back. But to do the working yarn in front, we're trying to get the working yarn in front of the stitch that's on this peg so that it shows up on the outside of my hat in this instance. So normally what we would have to do that is we'd have to go in and lift off the loop, put the working yarn behind the peg but in front of the stitch, and then we put the stitch back on the peg. And that's how we would get that stitch to show up. I don't know if you can see it here very well. Let me dig it out for you. But right there it is. There. So again, the traditional way would be that you lift the loop off, put your working yarn behind the peg but in front of the loop, and you put the loop back on. To me, that's just cumbersome and it's slow. So the hack that I use, I'm going to slip the working yarn in front on these 2 pegs. Hack is pretty simple and it speeds things up tremendously. So when you have to slip working yarn in front, you put your working yarn to the front of the peg you're going to slip and act as though you're going to purl. All right, so there I've got my loop. Rather than actually lifting it off and purling that stitch, just lay that loop towards the center of the peg, behind that peg, and pull it tight. So what you in essence have done is just you fed that working yarn exactly where you want it to be. Okay, let's do that again. So I'm going to act as though I'm going to purl, but don't lift the loop off the peg. Put my working yarn now behind the peg and just pull it tight. And that pulls it exactly where I want it to slip my working yarn in front. Right there it is. See, I'm going to pull it out so you can see it. So I'm going to do that on 2 more pegs so you can see. Okay, so I'm going to, this peg right here, I'm going to slip the working yarn in front. So I bring my working yarn forward, act as though I'm going to purl, and just slide that back over the loop, leaving the original loop on that peg, and pull it through. I'm going to slip the working yarn in front of the next peg, same thing. Act as though I'm going to purl, leave the original loop on the peg, put my working yarn behind the peg, and pull. And that's it. That's all you have to do. So much simpler, so much faster. Slip working yarn in front, hack.